It was a small town surrounded by misty hills, where people still believed in fate, and whispers carried through the wind like secrets. In that town lived two inseparable twins, Lily and Liam. From the day they were born, their bond was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. They cried together, laughed together, and even got sick at the same time. Their mother often said that separating them was like trying to tear one soul into two. They shared everything: dreams, food, clothes, even the same heartbeat, or so their grandmother used to say. When Lily got hurt, Liam felt the pain. When Liam was scared, Lily could sense it without a word. They were each other's shadow, and no one could imagine one without the other. One rainy morning, as thunder rolled across the sky, tragedy struck. Their mother was driving them home from school when another car lost control on the slippery road. The crash was sudden, brutal, and merciless. The car spun off the road, and in the chaos, Lily and Liam clung to each other, terrified. Their small hands held tightly as glass shattered around them. When help arrived, the sight broke every heart present. The twins were found motionless, still holding each other tightly, their faces peaceful as if asleep. The town mourned them deeply. The funeral drew hundreds. Even strangers cried when they saw the little white coffins placed side by side, their fingers intertwined. The priest's voice trembled as he spoke about their pure bond, one that even death seemed unable to break. Their mother couldn't bear to look. She collapsed at the sight of their still faces, whispering that they were all she had. A week later, something strange began happening at the small-town morgue. The mortician, Mr. Harris, was preparing the bodies for final separation before burial, as the cemetery had ordered separate resting spots due to limited space. He hesitated, staring at their hands still tightly locked together. He tried to gently separate them, whispering an apology, but as soon as he pulled their fingers apart, the lights flickered. A cold gust swept through the room, knocking over tools. He froze in fear. When he looked down again, he saw something he would never forget. Lily's lips moved slightly, as if she was trying to whisper something. Her chest seemed to twitch for a moment, and then everything went still again. Mr. Harris was a man of science, not superstition, but that moment shook him. He checked for a pulse, convinced he imagined it. Nothing. Just silence and the hum of the cooling unit. Trying to calm himself, he continued his work, though the uneasiness stayed with him. That night he couldn't sleep. The image of Lily's faint movement haunted him. He told no one. The next day, as the bodies were being transported for burial, another odd thing happened. The hearse carrying Lily's coffin broke down in the middle of the road, while the one with Liam's continued ahead. The driver, confused, tried everything to restart it, but the engine refused to turn. It wasn't until Liam's coffin was brought back next to Lily's that the engine roared to life again. The workers exchanged nervous looks, but said nothing. They decided to bury them together after all. But fate had other plans. The cemetery director insisted on separating them again. He said the plots had already been arranged and paperwork signed. The family, too heartbroken to argue, nodded in silence. On the day of the burial, as the coffins were lowered into separate graves, the air suddenly turned still. The wind stopped, the sky darkened, and a distant echoing sound filled the air, like a child crying. Everyone looked around, unsettled. Moments later, the ground near Lily's grave began to shake slightly, and a crack appeared in the soil between the two graves. That night, their mother woke from her sleep drenched in sweat. She swore she heard their voices calling out for each other. She ran outside, barefoot, through the rain to the cemetery. The guards tried to stop her, but she didn't care. She reached the graves and fell to her knees, screaming their names. The earth felt warm beneath her palms, almost alive. In the faint light of the lantern she carried, she saw something she couldn't explain. The two graves had shifted closer together. The soil between them had sunk slightly, forming a small dip as if the earth itself wanted to reunite them. The next morning, the entire town talked about it. Some said it was just the rain. Others whispered that the twins' souls couldn't bear to be apart. Their mother demanded they be buried together again. The cemetery workers reluctantly agreed. When they opened the coffins to transfer them, everyone gasped. Lily's body, though lifeless, had a faint smile on her lips. Liam's hand had turned slightly in her direction, palm open, as if reaching for her. From that moment, no one dared separate them again. They were buried together, their arms gently wrapped around one another. After that day, peace seemed to return to their home. But the mystery didn't end there. A few months later, their mother started hearing gentle knocks on the window at night. She would wake up and find two small handprints on the glass, one slightly larger than the other. The first time, she cried, thinking it was her imagination, but it kept happening every full moon. She would feel warmth spread through her chest, and her grief seemed to fade for a little while. Sometimes, she would even smell Lily's lavender perfume and hear Liam's soft laugh echoing faintly down the hallway. One night, she decided to follow the sound. It led her to their shared bedroom, which she hadn't touched since the accident. The twin beds stood side by side, still covered with their favorite blue blankets. She felt a cold breeze as she opened the door. Suddenly, both blankets fluttered slightly, like someone had just sat down. Her heart raced. Tears filled her eyes, but she smiled instead of screaming. She whispered, "I know it's you. I know you're still together." After that night, she found peace she couldn't explain. She began volunteering at a local orphanage, helping children who had lost their families. She said she could feel her twins guiding her, helping her heal others as she healed herself. Years passed, and people in town often saw faint lights near the twins' grave, two glowing shapes, dancing or sitting together. Visitors said they could hear laughter carried by the wind whenever they passed by. Some claimed that if you stood quietly near their graves, you could feel a sense of calm, like being embraced by warmth itself. Their story became legend in that small town. Parents told their children about the twins who loved each other so much that even death couldn't part them. The cemetery workers, who once tried to separate them, began placing flowers on their grave every week. The flowers never wilted, no matter how hot the summer sun got or how cold the winter snow became. One spring evening, on the anniversary of their death, the sky turned golden just before sunset. Their mother sat near their grave, whispering prayers and telling them how much she still missed them. Suddenly, two butterflies landed on her hand, one blue, one white. They stayed there for several seconds before fluttering away together into the glowing light. She smiled, her tears falling freely, whispering, "I know you're free now." The wind blew gently across the field, and the bells of the nearby church began to ring on their own. Everyone in the town looked toward the hill where the twins rested, and for a brief moment they saw two faint, shining silhouettes standing side by side, holding hands. Then they vanished into the sunlight. From that day on, no one ever doubted the bond between Lily and Liam. They had proven that true love, the kind born not from romance but from pure connection, was powerful enough to defy even the cold grasp of death. Their mother never stopped visiting them. She lived the rest of her life in quiet peace, knowing her children were together somewhere beyond this world, forever holding each other, forever whole. And when she passed away years later, they buried her right beside them. That night, the same glowing lights appeared again above their graves, this time 3 instead of 2. People who witnessed it said the lights danced in the air like a family reunited at last. The story of the twins became more than a tale. It became a reminder of the mysterious and eternal power of love, a bond that time, distance, and even death could never break.